last year, the team is hoping to bounce back and have better luck this season. One of the biggest changes this season will be in the net, as the team will be without its leading goaltender in Kevin Boyle. Boyle transferred to UMass Lowell during the offseason, and now Stephen Mastelers, who started in 13 of the team's 34 games last year and finished with a 2.96 goals against average, is the leading candidate to start in net for the Minutemen.
What's been the biggest thing you've been trying to improve yourself, is trying to establish yourself as the number one goalie here?
Consistency. I've had good games and bad games. I'm just trying to keep it all one even plane.
Last year, the team got 38 of its 93 goals from first-line forwards Brandon Gracell, Connor Sheary, and Michael Pereira, who are all entering their senior year. After losing 3 of their other top scorers from last year in graduates Rocco Carzo and Darren Rowe, and NHL draftee Connor Allen, the Minutemen will be looking for some new players to step up offensively this season.
Depth of scoring is a key. You can't be a one-line team, a one-trick pony in this league.
One good sign for the UMass offense is the return of Troy Power. Power suffered a season-ending knee injury last year during a game against Northeastern, but qualified for a medical redshirt and will enter the season as a redshirt junior.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played a game, so it was a lot of fun just to be back with the guys and wearing your UMass jersey again.
One guy the team will not be seeing for a while, though, is Frank Vetrano, the highly recruited forward from East Longmeadow, who transferred to UMass from Boston College in January, was ruled ineligible for the regular season under NCAA transfer rules. He will, however, be eligible to play in the postseason if the Minutemen qualify.
Guy hasn't played a game, but the way he competes, his approach to the game, skill aside, how good a teammate he is, all those things just impacted us so positively. So, was excited to see him play today. Going to be excited to get him in the lineup when he's ready.
With 9 seniors on the roster, and the team projected to finish 10th out of 11 teams in the Hockey East coaches poll, the players are motivated to put in a good performance this year.
Once again, I think that's something that kind of gets us going and more excited. We want to prove them wrong. Since I've been here with my class, we've always been picked to be lower end of the standings, and it's a chance for us to prove everybody wrong, and we all believe inside the locker room, so we got to change everybody else's minds.
The Minutemen will open the season on Friday when they take on Boston University on the road. I'm Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, and this is UMass Sports Weekly.
And welcome back to the show. Now joining me at the sports desk for everybody's favorite segment, UMass Athletics with JMS. Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, thanks for joining me. Now, want to get a preview of the hockey season because we got that coming up. Got a strong schedule to start off the year. Going to be a fun season to watch. One thing that we don't like to hear, though, is they're ranked 10th in the preseason poll for Hockey East. Not great. We heard that mentioned in your package earlier for the preview of the season. Why don't you elaborate a little more on your package and see what do you think you see in the team this year?
Well, like you said, they're ranked pretty low in the Hockey East, and like you said, tough schedule, just like it always is. Yeah. Being in one of the toughest schedules in college hockey in the Hockey East, and like I said in the package, one of the toughest things about this season is going to be, the changes in net with the transfer of Kevin Boyle. It's really going to be all on Steve Mastelers, having to transfer from, a part-time goalie to the complete number 1 starting goalie. That's going to be a real switch for him, and it's really all going to depend on how he steps up into that number 1 starting role, and how he transitions into that role really could determine how the season plays out for the Minutemen. I think that's going to be the number 1 determining factor for him. And of course, like I also brought up, they're looking for a lot of other guys to step up because they've really mainly been relying on that number 1 line of Gracell, Sheary, and Pereira to provide them with a lot of scoring. I think during the scrimmage, we saw some other guys, that could potentially step up. Returning guys like Shane Walsh and Steven Guzzo, who provided some scoring last year, but looked like they could be possibly step up and provide a little more this season. We saw some of the new guys like Steven Iacobellis, who could look, like they could produce some talent. Guys like Ben Gallagher, who transferred over from Ohio State, who looks like he could be pairing up on the defensive end with Joel Hanley for, possibly providing a more aggressive, back line there for the team. So there might be some more potential there on the offensive end, but the loss of Connor Allen, obviously good luck to him in the in his NHL ventures, but the loss is felt here at UMass, and but with the arrival of Ben Gallagher on that line with Joel Hanley, they could get a more aggressive line there, but on the defensive end that could suffer, especially, as I said, with Steve Mastelers having to step up all by himself without Kevin Boyle taking some of the part-time duties. So really, some question marks, but the team does have some potential, but in the Hockey East, there's only so much you can do. They have the potential to make the playoffs, but only at best as a bottom seed.
Yeah, Hockey East, potential doesn't really cut it. You got to make all that potential reach its entire potential if you want to do anything in the Hockey East. Hopefully Mastelers shines. Maybe we could see a breakout season from him. Maybe see Pereira rise to the top as one of the best players in the Hockey East. Different things we could see from this team.
It really is possible. I mean, Mastelers has had, some really good performances, particularly late last season. But he's also had some bad performances. I mean, like he said in the package, he's really working on, making his good performances more of a consistent thing. So it's really a matter of whether he can nail that down.
It's going to be exciting to watch. We always like to watch the hockey team down here at UMass Sports Weekly. So we'll touch on the football team now. The hockey team's previewed a little bit. Not much has changed in the football world. Suffered another loss this week. Only by 21, though. Not too bad.
only 21 point loss.
Put another 7 on the board. Our average touchdown got up there. Why don't you give us a little look over this loss? Doesn't have to be too in-depth because we don't have to feel the pain over and over again.
Yeah, well, I mean, once again, you saw the defense coming out with some potential early on in the game, not allowing any scores from Bolwing Green in the first quarter. But, I mean, once again, the defense can't just carry the team, as the offense isn't really doing too much great, and the defense just got overpowered as the offense of Bolwing Green kept pounding away at them. Eventually, they started giving up scores, and eventually that just overflowed on them, and they ended up giving up 28 points. And as for the offense, I just don't know what to expect from this team week to week. I mean, one week, Mike Wegson is falling apart as the quarterback, and A.J. Doyle is taking over. A.J. Doyle starts to build up potential, and then this week, A.J. Doyle fell apart. And then Mike Wegson took over, and he had an okay game, completed most of his passes, and threw for a touchdown. I can't honestly say who the better quarterback looks like right now after all of this. And even in the running game, it looked for a while like Stacy Bedell was going to be the #1 running back for the UMass football team. And then this week, Jamal Wilson comes out of nowhere and has a 100-yard rushing game. So it just looks like the UMass offense doesn't really know who they are right now, which is a real problem, going week to week. Who are they going to give the ball to at quarterback? Who are they going to give the ball to at running back? You can't really be asking these kinds of questions for such pivotal positions.
Yeah, it seems like at this point in the year, I understand the struggles, between each of the quarterbacks, and maybe there's some lesson teaching within it all, but do you think at this point, maybe this very week, they need to choose a starting quarterback and stick with it through thick and thin, no matter how bad he does for a game? Do you think that'd be better for the team, or do you think they should keep doing this rotating as they fluctuate in what they're doing?
Well, I mean, if a quarterback is not completing any of his passes, I'm certainly not going to say stick with him as he's throwing on the ground.
That's not what I meant, Jesse. I didn't mean zero passes. He's going to complete some passes.
Well,
I'm saying if he comes out and he throws 2 interceptions and we get down maybe 14-0, 21-0, do you take him out right there and finish him off, or do you stick with him? You got to, because it seems like in football, well, it doesn't seem like it is. The team comes around your quarterback, and if you don't have that one guy to look to in practice every week, you don't know which one's the guy. Is that going to hurt your team's morale as a whole?
Yeah, I really do think long term, the team really has to figure out who they're sticking with, and I think in that sense, maybe they should, go back to A.J. Doyle in terms of their starting quarterback, going into this game against Miami, Ohio, because he's been their starting quarterback the past couple of weeks, and he looked like he had some potential up until this game against Bolwing Green. I mean, obviously, I'm not in the huddle, I'm not in the coaches' minds right now, so I can't see what they're seeing. But based on what I've seen, it looks like like I've said, you gotta pick somebody and stick with it. Otherwise, it just causes inconsistencies with the offense that you can't really fix. And the Miami, Ohio game seems like one of the few games that the team really has a chance with. And if they don't know who's taking the snaps for the team, that could be a real problem for the offense, which is something they've just struggled with so much this season. And so I feel like you gotta, go back to the guy who's had the most potential this season, which is A.J. Doyle. He's had the most consistency up until this Bolwing Green game. So I feel like, he's the guy you'd want to start in that game, despite his most recent performance.
Now, do you think he will? I know you think that's probably the guy you'd want to start. Do you think, based off your knowledge of following this team, do you think they will start Doyle this week?
Well, I feel like even after earlier in the season, after Wegson had a couple of weak performances, they kept a little faith in him, gave him a couple of extra chances to start before they ultimately replaced him with Doyle. So I think in this case, they'll probably do the same thing, give Doyle another chance to prove himself, not just, dump him back to the backup role based on one bad performance. Barring some, complete falling apart during the practice where, like, all of a sudden he can't hit a receiver at all during practice, or if he gets hurt or something like that, barring something crazy like that happening, I expect that they would, they would continue starting Doyle, for the game against Miami, Ohio.
Well, maybe we'll see Doyle in there, maybe we'll see Wegson in there, maybe we'll see both of them in there, but either way, and, I got a lot riding on your answer right here, so I'm hoping you don't crush my heart. Do you think UMass pulls out the W against Miami of Ohio at Gillette?
Well, the odds makers have picked this game, have picked UMass to have the slight advantage over Miami, Ohio, which is a rare
Vegas
occurrence.
On our side, huh?
Vegas
I'll take that.
Is on the UMass's side by about 3.5 points, but I got to tell you, I just don't like where the UMass offense is right now with all the question marks they have. Whereas Miami, Ohio, yes, they've had just as bad a season record-wise, and their offense hasn't looked too good either, but they know who their quarterback is. They know who their running back is. They know that Austin Gearing is their running back. They know that Austin Boucher is their quarterback. And so they know who is taking their snaps. They know who they're handing it off to. So I feel like they just have a little more consistency going, and I feel like with all the question marks on UMass's offense, I just feel that Miami, Ohio has a slight edge there.
Well, let's hope and pray you're wrong. Let's hope and pray Vegas is right, Let's hope that this is the one, and maybe it turns around their entire season. Maybe I'm just really optimistic, but I'm looking for positives out of this team. Maybe we'll find some this Saturday. Jesse, always appreciate your time here. And we always appreciate you watching at home. Make sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at UM Sports Weekly. Also like us on Facebook. Check out our videos and segments and follow us there. And as always, we will be back same time, same place.